Ever find yourself reminiscing about the good old days and wondering if the younger generation has any clue about the treasures we experienced as baby boomers? If you're a baby boomer, get ready for a trip down memory lane. And if you're not, stick around because you're in for a fascinating journey back in time. Number 30, Drive-In Movies. Remember the time when a trip to the theater was the only way to catch a movie? Well, enter the magical world of drive-in movies. Back in the 1950s and 1960s, these outdoor cinemas were the epitome of entertainment, especially for young couples. Fast forward to today, and it's a sad reality that drive-ins are a rare find. Drive-in theaters weren't just about movies, they were an experience. Families and friends would pile into their cars, creating a cozy haven under the stars. The massive outdoor screens, surrounded by rows of cars, set the stage for an unforgettable evening. Each vehicle had a small speaker attached to the driver's window, ensuring everyone could tune into the movie's audio. It wasn't just a movie night, it was a communal gathering, providing both privacy and a shared atmosphere, a perfect destination for unforgettable dates. Number 29, phone books. There was a time when phone books were ancient scrolls that held the secrets of telephone numbers. Finding someone's information was both a breeze and a puzzle. If you knew the name, and it wasn't as common as John Smith, you could unveil their phone number. Fast forward to the present, and the name is practically useless when Google can unveil an entire social media profile with just a few clicks. The phone book was the original people search engine, a bulky tome that held the keys to connecting with friends and family. Today's generation might not appreciate the thrill of flipping through those pages, but for baby boomers, it was a treasure trove of contacts. Number 28, soda fountains. Take a moment to imagine the local soda fountain, buzzing with the sounds of carbonated joy and the clinking of glasses. Soda fountains were more than places to grab a drink. They were social hubs where baby boomers gathered to indulge in carbonated beverages, ice cream floats, and sundaes. These establishments weren't just about the food and drink. They were the heartbeat of community life. People would catch up on local news and events, turning a casual visit into a social event. Sharing a malt or milkshake with friends at the soda fountain wasn't just a routine. It was a cherished memory, a slice of nostalgia that remains close to the hearts of many boomers. Number 27, setting the TV antenna. For the younger folks who never had the pleasure or pain of dealing with TV antennas, let me paint a picture. Before cable and satellite TV took over, people relied on good old-fashioned antennas to capture television signals. And let me tell you, it was no walk in the park. First things first, finding the perfect spot for your antenna was like searching for the Holy Grail. Then came the unpredictable weather. You had to pray for cooperation because rain or snow could turn your TV time into a pixelated nightmare. And if there was a thunderstorm, forget about catching your favorite show. You were better off diving into a good book or taking a nap until the skies cleared. 26. Rotary dial phone. The nostalgic sound of a rotary dial phone. When was the last time you experienced the tactile joy of making a call with one of those clunky, reliable machines? Back in the day, these solid boulders brought families together, facilitated business transactions, and even played a role in long-distance love stories. Today, they've been replaced by push-button dialing and the omnipresent smartphones we can't imagine living without. During the 1960s, telephone technology was a far cry from the sleek devices we have today. Enter the rotary dial phone, a sturdy contraption connected to a wall socket, typically made of plastic or metal, with a cord linking the handset to the base. The design was simple yet functional. Making a call was a hands-on affair. Pick up the receiver, rotate the dial to input the desired number, and patiently wait for the other person to answer. No caller ID, no voicemail, just the anticipation of a connection. Number 25, typewriters. In the 1800s, typewriters revolutionized the way we put words on paper. Boasting the ability to create perfectly shaped letters and numbers, typewriters became indispensable tools for not only high school and college work, but also for various jobs. And yes, Gen Xers and older generations can nod in agreement, these clacking machines were a part of our everyday lives. Unlike the forgiving nature of computers, typewriters offered no easy erasing or complicated revising. Each keystroke left a permanent mark on the paper, demanding precision and careful consideration. However, as the 1980s rolled in, The rise of personal computers and word processors signaled the inevitable end for the typewriter. Today, they reside in the realm of novelties and nostalgic memories, a testament to a bygone era. Number 24. Print encyclopedias. Curious about the capital of South Carolina or Woodrow Wilson's vice president? In today's digital age, a quick internet search provides instant answers, Columbia and Thomas R. Marshall. However, back when boomers were in school, the desperate student search engine came in the form of multi-volume print encyclopedias. These hefty sets, often sold door to door, were a staple in many boomer households. Home computers brought about the demise of these shelf-dominating volumes. Still, the name lives on in the digital age, thanks to the popular digital reference work, Wikipedia. Number 23. Milk delivery. The good old days when milk was delivered right to your doorstep. Back in the 1960s, about 30% of milk made its way to homes, making it a staple for baby boomers as they poured it over their Fruit Loops or used it to wash down their PBJs. Those were the times when milkmen, sometimes women, had their regular routes, ensuring that households were stocked not only with milk but also cream and other dairy products. But where did the milkman go? The demise of home milk delivery happened swiftly, driven by a combination of new technologies, economic shifts, and changing demographics. Improved refrigeration systems allowed large dairies to extend their delivery reach, encroaching on the territories of smaller ones. The economies of scale favored these large dairies, leading to lower retail prices and squeezing the margins of the traditional milkman. Milkmen were not just delivery folks, they were the original recyclers, collecting empty glass bottles when dropping off the fresh ones. However, the advent of plastic containers rendered the need for glass bottles obsolete. By the early 70s, the baby boomers, now young adults, were not consuming as much milk. Families found convenience in picking up a gallon or two from the local grocery store, enough to last them the entire week. Number 22. No 24/7 TV. Can you imagine a time when television had a bedtime? Well, the baby boomer generation lived through it. Back in the 1950s and 1960s, TV stations would sign off at midnight and resume broadcasting around 6 a.m. It's a far cry from today's era of 24/7 binge watching, where you can seamlessly transition from specialty sports channels to all news networks to movie marathons. But wait, there's more. Picture this: no remote controls. Yes, people actually had to get up and switch the channel manually. Those were the days when TVs had a mere 3 channels, and choosing what to watch meant physical effort. After the nightly sign-off, the TV screen would transition to a test pattern, indicating that the transmitter was active but no programming was scheduled. This visual was often accompanied by a static sound or simple music. It served as a cue for viewers to realize it was time to turn off the set and catch some much-needed Z's. Maybe there's a lesson in there for us today. A reminder to take a break from the 24/7 entertainment buffet and get a good night's sleep. Number 21. Using a traveler's check. Back in the day when boomers were beginning to spread their wings and travel, a visit to the bank for a batch of traveler's checks was a common pre-trip ritual. These checks were signed upon receipt, and a matching signature was added when making a purchase. The main advantage? Unlike cash, if a traveler's check was lost, it could be easily replaced. Fast forward to the present, the landscape of banking and spending while traveling has undergone a revolution. Today, you can spend money on vacations much like you do at home, using credit or debit cards, or withdrawing local currency from an ATM. Number 20. Talking to an operator. Early on, when there wasn't a telephone, making a call wasn't as simple as punching in a few digits. You needed the assistance of a telephone operator, a human intermediary who manually connected calls through a central switchboard linked to subscribers' wires. This was a revolutionary service that played a crucial role in bringing the telephone into the lives of masses. The concept took root in 1877 when George W. Coy, inspired by Alexander Graham Bell's telephone invention, established the first telephone exchange in the United States. This central switchboard allowed anyone with a telephone to connect with others who had the same technology. Large businesses, hotels, and government offices employed phone operators, often women, to manage calls, routing them to specific extensions by physically plugging in cords on the switchboard. Many of us, especially baby boomers, remember interacting with operators to find phone numbers for businesses and individuals. Number 19. Watching the first moon landing. July 20th, 1969 marked a historic moment when Neil Armstrong took that one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. It wasn't just a momentous occasion for those who witnessed it. It was a cultural phenomenon that captivated hundreds of millions of people worldwide, including many young baby boomers. While later generations might have seen glimpses of the Apollo 11 moon landing in reruns or recreated in movies, nothing compares to the experience of watching it unfold live. Number 18. VCR. In today's world of DVRs and streaming services, the idea of watching your favorite show whenever you want is second nature. But for baby boomers, this was a luxury they didn't always have. Enter the VCR, video cassette recorder, a game changer that revolutionized home entertainment. Back in the day, catching a movie or TV show meant tuning in when it aired. The VCR changed that. Suddenly, you could not only watch your favorite programs at your convenience, but you could also set a timer to record them. For those of us who grew up in the 80s and 90s, VCRs were a household staple. We fondly remember the anticipation as the VCR slowly rewound tapes, ensuring they were ready for the next blockbuster rental. Ah, the days of the rewinding fine. A nostalgic memory for sure. Number 17. Beetle Mania. Let's imagine 1964, the Ed Sullivan Show stage, and the arrival of four names that would resonate across generations: John, Paul, George, and Ringo. The Beatles took the stage, and from New York to New Mexico, the ecstatic screams of teens filled the air. Beetle Mania had arrived. For baby boomers, the Beatles weren't just a band, they were a cultural phenomenon. The impact of that Ed Sullivan performance echoed through the years, and Beatle fans have been unable to let it be ever since. Number 16. Riding a banana seat bike. It brings back nostalgic memories of riding a banana seat bike down the street, a cherished memory for most baby boomers. These bikes were the epitome of cool, designed to resemble choppers with their high handlebars, small wheels, and that iconic banana seat. But what truly elevated the experience was the trend of clipping baseball cards to the spokes, creating the most satisfying sound as you sped down the street. For boomers, these bikes were more than just a mode of transportation. They were a symbol of freedom and adventure. The simple act of riding down the block brought joy and sense of camaraderie. It's a reminder of a time when the most important decision was which card to attach to your spokes for the perfect soundtrack. And while later generations may be known for their risk-taking and creativity, there's something special about the simplicity and joy that baby boomers found in the little things. Number 15. Postcards. In the age of instant messaging and emails, it's easy to forget the anticipation of waiting for a postcard from a faraway friend or relative. Baby boomers, however, can vividly recall the excitement of checking the mailbox, hoping for a reply from someone dear. Before the era of digital communication, postcards were the bridge that connected people across distances. Boomers would send and receive these physical tokens of affection, each card telling a story of travel, friendship, or simply a thoughtful hello. It was a tangible connection in an era that valued the written word. While Gen Z may not have experienced the joy of sending and receiving postcards, for boomers, these small pieces of paper were more than just mail. They were glimpses into the lives and adventures of loved ones. Number 14. Fax machines. Those familiar whirs and beeps of fax machines, a sound that brings back memories for those who navigated the world of document transmission before the digital age took over. In the not-so-distant past, using a fax machine was the go-to method for sending important documents. Long before email became ubiquitous and scanners were a common household item, the fax machine reigned supreme. It required a dedicated telephone line and was the lifeline for businesses and individuals needing to send documents over distances. The process wasn't without its challenges. Dealing with failed transfers, wrestling with paper jams, and the frustration of fading ink are all too familiar memories for those who interacted with fax machines. Yet, in its heyday, the fax machine was an indispensable tool for communication. A fax machine operates by sending documents electronically over a telephone network, with the transmissions aptly named faxes. These could be exchanged between two fax machines or between a fax machine and a computer or online fax service. While the majority of faxing was business-related, there was a time when personal use of fax transmission was also common, particularly among the generations that grew up with this technology. Today, the standalone fax machine is a rarity, often replaced by multifunctional units that integrate printing, scanning, and copying features. Moreover, the advent of online fax services and fax servers has streamlined the process, offering a more efficient and modern approach to document transmission without the need for dedicated hardware. Number 13. Arcade games. Here's a glimpse into the dimly lit world of arcade games, a realm where baby boomers found joy, camaraderie, and the thrill of mastering pixelated challenges. In the vibrant chaos of the arcade, quarters clinked, joysticks rattled, and high scores were the ultimate badge of honor. Picture the arcades of the 1960s, a time when mechanical games transitioned into electromechanical wonders. The late 60s showcased the birth of iconic games like Sega's Periscope in 1965, immersing players in thrilling shooting experiences. Rifleman, 1967, continued the trend, adding a layer of precision to arcade gaming. Racing games, too, had their moment in the spotlight. Casco's Indy 500 in 1968 and Chicago Coin Speedway in 1969 ushered in an era of competitive speed, turning the arcade into a battleground for virtual supremacy. The 1960s laid the foundation for what would become a cultural phenomenon in the 1970s, the video arcade. Number 12. Watching I Love Lucy. Television's journey into our living rooms is a tale that can be told in various chapters, from Philo Farnsworth's transmission in 1927 to RCA's grand telecast at the New York World's Fair in 1939. However, the handiest year for TV's true genesis might be 1946, a time when technology, optimism, and renewed consumer buying power converged after the conclusion of World War II, giving broadcast television the kickstart it needed. For the baby boomer generation, the magic of television wasn't just about the invention itself, but the content it brought into their homes. One timeless piece of that content was I Love Lucy, a classic sitcom that, while accessible to all today, holds a special place in the memories of those who tuned in during its original broadcast. I Love Lucy wasn't just a show. It was a cultural phenomenon. Debuting in 1951, it swiftly claimed dominance in the ratings, becoming the most watched show in the United States for 4 out of its 6 seasons. Lucy Ricardo's comedic antics, Ricky's exasperated expressions, and the unforgettable supporting cast created a perfect storm of entertainment that captivated audiences across the nation. Number 11. Cassette tapes. Before the digital age of streaming, baby boomers had a special relationship with cassette tapes. Beyond just being a medium for music, cassettes offered a tangible and immersive experience, allowing individuals to buy, play, and collect their favorite tunes while enjoying the tactile pleasure of flipping through album covers. In a world preoccupied with digital convenience, the cassette tape was a symbol of a bygone era, a testament to the groovier days of music. The compact cassette, a revolutionary invention, democratized the recording process. Unlike the cumbersome reel-to-reel technology of the past, which required training and was mostly used by professionals in radio, cassettes made audio recording accessible to everyone. It wasn't just about listening to favorite tracks. It was about creating personal mixtapes, a labor of love that involved planning playlists and recording tracks manually. Unlike today's instant playlists, the process of making a mixtape was a thoughtful and time-consuming gesture. The impact of cassette tape soared even higher with the introduction of Sony's Walkman. This portable music player allowed people of all ages to carry their favorite tunes wherever they went, liberating music from the confines of cars or home stereos. The Walkman, hand in hand with cassette tapes, became a cultural phenomenon, providing a personalized soundtrack for individuals as they navigated their daily lives. These two inventions went hand in hand. Or make that hand in ear. Number 10. Vinyl records. In an era where vinyl is experiencing a resurgence, it's essential to remember the bygone days when vinyl records were the epitome of modern, high-tech music consumption. Today, vinyl might be seen as a niche for audiophiles, but there was a time when it was the mainstream choice for recording and enjoying songs. While contemporary music enthusiasts fret over internet outages and subscription prices, those with a vinyl collection had different concerns: worn-out needles and dust on their records. Yet, for them, the hassle was justified because, as many would argue, vinyl simply sounded better. The pops and crackles added a unique warmth and nostalgia to the listening experience. Number 9. Ham radios. In the world before social media dominated our connections, there was a time when ham radios were the go-to for those seeking communication adventures. Although ham radio enthusiasts still exist today, the popularity of this method has waned, and it's a bit of a loss considering the unique charm it brought to connecting with strangers. In the early days of radio, the airwaves were a shared space among commercial, government, and amateur stations. Spark gap transmissions and Morse code were the order of the day, and amateurs, distinct from the professionals, added an element of unpredictability to the radio spectrum. The thrill lay in the mystery of who might be tuning into your broadcast, a stark contrast to today's highly curated online interactions. The radio spectrum was a chaotic place initially, with interference rampant due to the shared frequencies. In 1912, the government intervened, assigning specific bands to each type of radio user. Amateurs, considered less critical for long-distance communication, found themselves on frequencies higher than 1.5 megahertz. Despite the regulation, amateur radio activity flourished, reaching around 6,000 licensed hams by 1917. However, World War I imposed a hiatus on ham radio operations, with the Navy controlling radio activities even after the war's end. It wasn't until late 1919, following pressure from amateurs on Congress, that the ban lifted, allowing them back on the air. While the heyday of ham radios may have passed, the nostalgia for the thrill of connecting with unknown voices over the airwaves remains. Number 8. Jello Dishes. I remember the 1950s, a time of poodle skirts, rock and roll, and, well, questionable culinary creations. Amidst the cultural revolutions, one thing the 1950s didn't quite master was the art of cooking, especially when it came to Jello dishes. While the era gave us iconic fashion and music, its culinary contributions often left a lot to be desired. Jello dishes, however, have a history that extends far beyond the 1950s. Their origins can be traced back to medieval Europe, where jelly dishes were reserved for the elite. These culinary delights adorned the tables of nobility as elaborate molded centerpieces. The process of creating these dishes was no small feat. It involved rendering collagen from animal bones and clarifying it. This intricate procedure made jelly dishes a symbol of sophistication, albeit one that was not for the faint-hearted, as explained by Lynn Bellesio, Executive Director of the Leroy Historical Society, home to the Jello Gallery Museum. Moving forward to the mid-19th century, this process evolved, making it more accessible to the general population. However, it wasn't until the 1950s that Jello truly took the spotlight in American households, becoming a staple in recipes that often left a lot to be desired in terms of taste and culinary finesse. Number 7. Five and dime stores. Before the digital age and the rise of massive department stores, there was the charm of the five and dime store. These quaint variety shops, aptly named for their affordable prices, were treasure troves where one could discover anything from penny candy to household essentials. Woolworths, Ben Franklin, Cress. These names evoke nostalgia for a time when these stores were not just retail outlets but community hubs. In the heyday of Woolworths, Ben Franklin, and others, these stores were ubiquitous, found in bustling cities and quiet towns alike. They weren't just places to shop, they were woven into the fabric of everyday life. Need a little treat? Penny candy awaited. Household goods? They had you covered, and all at a reasonable price. The late 1990s saw the symbolic end of this era when Woolworths declared bankruptcy. It marked the closure of an iconic chapter in retail history, signaling the fade out of these beloved five and dime establishments that had once been a fixture on every main street. Number 6. Skate keys. I got a brand new pair of roller skates. You got a brand new key. No, not the key to a car, but the skate key that was once an essential accessory for roller skate enthusiasts. Those old-fashioned metal roller skates strapped onto shoes with leather required a little tool for a perfect fit: the skate key. Roller skating has a history dating back to the mid-1700s, but it was the baby boomers who truly propelled its popularity. In the 1950s, a distinctive style of roller skates emerged, featuring a wooden or metal base with leather straps. Unlike modern inline skates, these classic skates required wearers to keep their regular shoes on. The skate base was adjusted using the skate key. Imagine wearing your regular shoes, stepping onto the skate base, and securing them with leather straps around your ankles. The only thing keeping your feet in place was the strap and a small toe clamp. The skate key played a crucial role in unlocking the base, allowing skaters to adjust the size to fit their feet perfectly. Skate keys became a fashionable accessory, often worn around the neck like a necklace. Skaters were ready to tighten or loosen their skates at a moment's notice, ensuring a snug and comfortable fit for the next thrilling roll around the rink. Roller skating in the 1950s and 1960s was not just a pastime. It was an adventure, and the skate key was the secret tool to mastering the perfect fit. Number 5. Green stamps. Probably the best rewards program around, not to editorialize, but collecting green stamps was undeniably one of the most cherished memories of the good old days. Baby boomers hold fond recollections of earning these stamps based on their expenditures at various retail establishments, predominantly supermarkets and gas stations. The concept was simple, but incredibly rewarding. As shoppers checked out, they received green stamps, which were then meticulously pasted into books. The joy of filling those books with stamps was not just a routine. It was a delightful anticipation of the rewards to come. These green stamp books were not merely collections. They were passports to a world of possibilities. The real excitement came when these carefully accumulated stamps could be redeemed for a plethora of items, ranging from furniture to televisions. Number 4. Jukeboxes. Surely, the jukebox is the iconic emblem of the 1950s and 1960s, eternally linked with the vibrant sense of diners and teenage hangouts. For baby boomers, the jukebox wasn't just a music player. It was a gateway to sonic delight, a coin-operated maestro that could bring a favorite tune to life with the drop of a coin. The classic jukebox, a partially automated music-playing marvel, stood tall in diners and establishments adorned with buttons sporting letters and numbers. These buttons were the portals to a world of music, allowing patrons to make their selections from a repertoire of self-contained records. In the jukebox heyday, some evolved to use compact discs, but the essence remained the same, an enchanting fusion of music, technology, and social experience. Picture a 1950s diner, and the quintessential scene involves the rhythmic clinking of dishes, the sizzle of a grill, and the unmistakable melodies emanating from a jukebox. Boomers would fondly recall the joy of inserting a coin, selecting a beloved tune, and immersing themselves in the music's embrace. It wasn't just about the songs. It was about the shared experience, the communal enjoyment of music that became a cultural hallmark. Jukeboxes weren't just pieces of furniture. They were time machines, transporting those who listened to the heart and soul of an era. Number 3. The first home computers. You can picture this. It's the dawn of the personal computer era, a time when households were on the brink of a technological revolution. Baby boomers, the pioneers of this digital frontier, eagerly embraced the possibilities unfolding before them. And at the forefront of this revolution were the early marvels like the legendary Commodore 64. The journey into the digital age was marked by visionaries like Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak, both proud baby boomers. In 1976, they co-founded Apple Computer, a venture that would redefine how people work, communicate, and interact with technology. The defining moment came with the introduction of the Apple II, the first commercially successful personal computer. The Apple II, unleashed upon the world in 1977, was a marvel of its time, featuring color graphics, a sound card, expansion slots, and other innovations that set it apart. It wasn't just a machine. It was a harbinger of a future where computers would seamlessly integrate into everyday life, becoming as ubiquitous as televisions and telephones. Number 2. Sunday morning cartoons. We all remember those nostalgic Sunday mornings, the baby boomers' gateway to a vibrant, animated realm where characters like Scooby-Doo and the Flintstones came to life, creating cherished memories that endure through the ages. Rewind to the late 1950s, a time when Saturday mornings offered a limited selection of cartoons featuring the silent Farmer Gray, or classics like Beanie and Cecil. The early 1960s brought the advent of iconic shows like The Flintstones and Johnny Quest, captivating the imaginations of young boomers across the nation. Yet, the true magic unfolded on Sunday mornings. As the sun painted the sky with hues of dawn, kids were treated to the heartwarming adventures of Davy and Goliath. Later in the morning, the choices expanded to the whimsical worlds of Gumby or the lively entertainment of Wonderama. However, Sunday mornings weren't just about animated escapades. Baby boomers had a simple yet profound choice to make: TV preachers, or attending church with their parents. In a neighborhood where Sundays were held sacred, the lively laughter of children at play was postponed until after the noonday sun had graced the sky. Number 1. Film cameras. Step back in time to an era where every photograph was a carefully curated moment, etched onto film with precision and intention. Baby boomers fondly reminisce about the days of film cameras, a time when capturing memories meant a meticulous process that unfolded with each click of the shutter. Transport yourself to the 1960s, where the 35mm single-lens reflex SLR camera reigned supreme. These iconic cameras featured a mirror mechanism that reflected the lens image to the viewfinder, providing photographers with a preview of their shot before the magic of capturing a moment unfolded. The ability to swap lenses granted users unparalleled creative control, a touch of artistry in every frame. Yet, the act of photography in the 1960s was a far cry from the instantaneous digital world we know today. Loading film into the camera marked the beginning of a journey, each adjustment of aperture and shutter speed a deliberate choice for the desired exposure. A photograph wasn't merely taken, it was crafted with skill and knowledge, a hands-on experience that required patience and finesse. The journey didn't end with the click of the shutter. Film, now imprinted with memories, embarked on a transformative process. The intricate dance of chemicals in the darkroom developed and birthed physical prints, tangible fragments of the past. This alchemical process took days, if not a week, adding an element of anticipation and delayed gratification to the art of photography. In a world saturated with digital images, the photographs of the 1960s are revered for their quality and the undeniable organic essence they exude, a testament to a bygone era when each photograph was a testament to both the moment captured and the craftsmanship behind the lens. You now know the memories that only baby boomers will truly understand. If you've enjoyed this nostalgia trip, hit that like button, share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more blasts from the past. Until then, keep the nostalgia alive, and we'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching.